Kiddie table anyway. Now underway, we're going to take a look back at the last record-breaking debate in August. Plus, we'll talk to our own John Bachman, who's out at the Reagan Library in CV Valley, California. And I hit the streets of Manhattan to find out if actual voters, even the liberal ones here in New York, will be watching the debate tonight. Of course they will. This is the Daily Wrap, live from New York City. And welcome to the show. I'm Joe Concha, joined by Rick Unger. It's the Super Bowl Part 2.
Debate Part 2. Very jazzed, very excited. We'll be here late into the night tonight.
Until 1 a.m.
I think we'll be here till 1 o'clock a.m.
That's good stuff.
I hope somebody brought, no, I can't say they brought the booze, huh? Yeah, well, I guess I'll have to go on the radio for that.
Wow. I don't think
It's
you
a party,
need
man.
alcohol
1 o'clock at
tonight,
night?
given the entertainment value.
It's actually true. There's nothing I enjoy more than covering debates, covering elections. This is what you do this stuff for.
This is why we got into the business.
This is why we're here. It's going to be great.
And there'll be 13 more debates after this on the Democratic and Republican side, so it never ends.
Not too many on the Democratic side.
That's right, the 6 only.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Roots. Anyway, to his right, stand-up comedian and writer, Joe DeVito is back.
Thanks, guys.
Good to see you. And finally, he's the editor of the WisdomDaily.com and president of the Ready for Chafee Super PAC. Brad Hirschfield is back once again.
Good to be here, I think.
Chafee jokes never get old.
Jokes like that,
Yeah,
I don't
you're
know.
You're the one.
But it's
All
okay.
right. Let's get right to the Daily Download. And as we were talking about, tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, Newsmax TV will be providing full coverage of the GOP presidential debates. All of your favorite Newsmax hosts will be involved, plus we'll have a special interview with Dr. Ben Carson. We also want you to be involved as well, so go to newsmax.com/judge to join our special instant poll, where you can vote for your debate winner. I wonder who that's going to be. Well, there's a lot at stake for those participating in the debate tonight. Will Trump triumph or tank? Alliteration. Can Jeb Bush break through and actually make an impact? Will Ben Carson continue the momentum he's created lately? Carly Fiorina, John Kasich, there's 11 people on stage. Who is gonna stand above the rest when it's all said and done? But first, let's take a look back at the memorable debate in August we mentioned before. Governor Jeb Bush, who may have a lot of campaign cash, hasn't been able to stand out yet in the election cycle. Currently, Mr. Bush is sunk to 6% in the polls. Apparently, name recognition ain't helping Jeb, but neither is his message on his policies.
But there are several opponents on this stage who get big applause lines in early voting states with this line. Quote, "The last thing the country needs is another Bush in the Oval Office." So do you understand the real concern in this country about dynastic politics?
Absolutely, I do. And I'm going to run hard, run with heart, and run to win. I'm going to have to earn this. Maybe the bar is even higher for me. That's fine. I've got a record in Florida. I'm proud of my dad, and I'm certainly proud of my brother. In Florida, they call me Jeb because I earned it.
Do you think
And besides, that's his name.
It's
right?
Yeah.
Good point. Do you think he should even, and I know he loves his brother, I have a brother, I totally get it. Why even mention I love my brother? Why even remind people of that brand name problem?
It's obviously been an issue for him. I think he actually, look, you know, I remember when the last election wrapped up, I was with my friend Steve Forbes, going to name drop a little bit.
Yeah, a little
and
bit.
I said, Steve, I know you're a friend of Jeb's. I said, if I were you, I would get on an airplane, get down to Miami tonight, and make sure he runs for president. He says, well, what about his brother? I said, any one of us can write that speech in 10 minutes. The problem is nobody wrote the speech, and he hasn't really done the job he needs to do to separate from it, which is unfortunate, but he's still here.
Joe, people say that Bush should show more energy and he needs to be more confrontational, but that's not who he is. And if he tries to go down that road, then I have a feeling that people are going to say, well, now he's just trying to be somebody he's not. And authenticity is working in this election.
He's got to be something. He has to show some sort of a pulse, and I think that's the problem that, you know, we look at these debaters, and Trump's going to crush all of them because he's going to be able to run off with the mouth as he does. But look what it's done for Carly Fiorina. She's been able to break out of the pack. And of course right now we have the junior varsity also ran debate going on. So
happy hour.
Yeah, I think that's their chance at the pregame here for those guys to get their shots in. But are they really doing that much worse than Bush when you look at the percentages he's at?
6% for Bush, and the ones at the kiddie table are basically 1%. With all that money. And money doesn't seem, and I've been saying this since the beginning, money doesn't matter as much as it used to. Social media is an equalizer.
He hasn't spent much of it yet. We have to point that out.
True.
Well, they're spending $24 million this week. Right to Rise, which is the biggest super PAC, $24 million on advertising in New Hampshire and Iowa alone. But I got to say, this is where the authenticity factor rings hollow. Have you seen the piece?
Yeah.
It presents Donald Trump as like Darth Vader, and I mean the music comes up, bum 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 bum. It's almost absurd. There's no substance to the attack, and then Jeb comes on, and it's actually a pretty uplifting, kind of compassionate conservative message, but no punch. Tell me how it's going to make a difference. Translate the goodwill, because I think he is a good guy.
You're missing the other but, by the way.
Which you're going to tell me.
The ad that you are talking about says that, okay, we could, they go after Trump for saying America can be great again. He says, no, it is already great. We're going to lift people up and give them more opportunity. And they show the sun rising above a field. And that field was in Cornwall, England.
No, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So that was revealed. It's like, can't you at least get that right? There's 1,000 fields to choose from.
And that's the problem. It's like, this is the road to hell, good intentions. They have great intentions, but get something right. Because at the end of the day, that is one thing that Trump does do well. He gets it right, not on the policies, not on the ideas, Lord knows, not on the ideas, but he taps into what people are feeling, and he does it well.
Okay, well, Donald Trump, unlike Jeb, certainly not dead in the water. In the latest New York Times CBS poll, he leads with 27%. That seems to be a common number lately of the Republican vote. But he has been accused of not being conservative by other candidates, as well as Megyn Kelly during that last debate.
Mr. Trump, in 1999, you said you were, quote, very pro-choice, even supporting partial birth abortion. You favored an assault weapons ban as well. In 2004, you said in most cases you identified as a Democrat. Even in this campaign, your critics say you often sound more like a Democrat than a Republican, calling several of your opponents on this stage things like clowns and puppets. When did you actually become a Republican?
I don't think they like me very much.
Okay. So, Joe, do you think that Donald Trump is actually a conservative?
I don't think he's a conservative at all. But I don't think it matters. Well, if you look at his positions, he's a conservative Republican almost in the way that Bloomberg was a conservative Republican mayor. It's just that's the party that he was able to run through.
Wants to tax the rich, wants to go after hedge funds and Wall Street.
But I don't think it matters, and I think that's where the Republicans say, well, we need someone who's going to be more conservative. I don't think that connects with people. People want a winner, and they look at Trump. I'm surprised Trump hasn't asked for trap doors to be put under the other podiums of the debaters.
How do you know that he hasn't?
Yeah, well, we'll see.
No, like in Austin Powers where you press a button and they go backwards into a fire pit.
You know, because it's debate night, I'm going to be very respectful to Mr. Trump.
Really?
And I'm going to say he's not a progressive, certainly. He's not a conservative. I think he would tell you he is a populist.
Yeah. That's the key word. There's a populist strain in Republican history all the way back to the beginning, and he's the embodiment of it. He's tapped into it. He's also been willing to change and grow, and I think actually that's what he does a really good. It's hard to imagine change and grow with Donald Trump, but the truth is he has done that well.
I am going to disagree. He's not the embodiment of it. What he says is the embodiment.
Yes, well that's a better corrected. He is not, which may be the best pivot of all time. Without actually having to become it, he has become the single best representative of it we've seen in a long time.
This is what vexes me. I'm extremely vexed, or I'm almost angry.
Vexish.
Don't I?
How many times are we going to say vex?
Well, it's a line from Gladiator.
You're vexing me now.
Where Russell Crowe keeps living, he goes, I'm vexed. I'm extremely vexed. Look, I don't understand how if you're a Mark Levin, right, conservative radio host, and you say, and we need a real conservative, not Romney, not McCain, not a moderate from New England, anything like that, right? You hear all these things, and then they say we want a true conservative on the ticket. And then they all support Trump, even though he isn't a true conservative. So everybody's being hypocritical at this point when they say, the only way we're going to win is with a true conservative, and now we're going to get the guy who wants to raise taxes on the rich, which at last check is not a conservative position.
Exactly. Exactly, and it's been hysterical to watch the conservative talk show hosts bend themselves into pretzels trying to figure out how to do it.
Justified, exactly. Okay, so who do you think is going to win tonight's debate? Suspense is killing me. Go to newsmaxtv.com/comments and let us know. Maybe we'll even read a couple on the air. And be sure to tune in at 10 p.m. Eastern tonight for our live debate coverage. You can even weigh in by registering our instant poll. It's all fun. Anyway, coming up next, more debate coverage. Stay tuned.